Hey, Olga and Zach, have you heard about the women's rights movement?
No, I haven't. What's that?
Well, Zach, the women's rights movement was a movement that gave the women the right to vote.
Wow, I didn't even know there was a time when they couldn't.
That's right, Zach. It wasn't until 1848 that women started taking charge of fighting for the right to vote.
Wow, I never knew that.
In fact, the first Women's Rights Convention was held in Seneca Falls, New York in 1848.
Women came together to assert their rights as human beings, to vote and be treated equally.
Lucretia Mott was the woman who came up with the convention in Seneca Falls.
Later, Elizabeth Cady Stanton joined Lucretia Mott. They were both female Quakers.
Susan B. Anthony, the daughter of a Quaker abolitionist in rural of New York, worked for the women's rights and temperance. She called for equal pay, college for girls, and co-education.
Susan B. Anthony met Elizabeth Cady Stanton in 1851. They became lifelong friends and partners in the women's rights movement.
In 1821, Emma Willard established the Troy Female Seminary in upstate New York. The seminary taught math, history, geography, physics, and the usual homemaking subjects.
Later in 1837, Mary Lyons established Mount Holyoke Female Seminary in Massachusetts. Many young women began to make their own opportunities there.
During the 1800s, women gained some rights from marriage and property laws. Some states allowed women to share guardianship of their children with their husbands.
Indiana was the first state that allowed women to divorce their husbands if they were chronic abusers of alcohol.
Women had very few career choices. Women could be school teachers, but the school board paid them a lot less than they paid men.
Medicine and ministry were more difficult fields to break into. However, some women overcame that goal.
Elizabeth Blackwell wanted to study medicine, but she was turned down by more than 20 schools.
Finally, Geneva College in New York accepted her. She graduated at the top of her class and became a famous doctor.
Wyoming was the first state that allowed women to vote in 1913.
It wasn't until 1920, though, that all the states agreed to let the women vote.
Wow, that was interesting.
Yeah, that's a great lesson. I learned a lot.
Me too.
Now, turn to your partner and discuss the important things that you've learned from this video.
Yeah!
Where was the first Women's Rights Convention held?
If you said Seneca Falls, New York, you were correct.
What was the purpose of the women's rights movement?
If you said to give women the right to vote, you're correct.
Which state allowed women to vote first?
If you answered Wyoming, you were correct.
Good job, everybody!